Hey, what's up guys? Little man with a big opinion here. Today's video, I am going to partially talk about booze, but we're also going to bring up coffee, and we're going to bring up tea. Everything that I have on the table with me are items that, if stored properly, will last a lifetime. In a SHTF situation, I like to mention that we want to keep things as close to normal as possible. You know, I drink a lot of tea. This is probably my second or third glass since, I started winding down for the night. I drink plenty of water. I try to keep track of it. And, looking at my watch, I was able to get 6 cups of water today, so I'm doing all right. But water's super important for prepping. I think a lot of us would not make it very far from a sane position if the only thing we had was water. So once you have a decent amount of water storage, and I would say that's anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks, obviously more is better, but start with 2 to 3 weeks worth of water. Once you know how you're going to replenish that water, whether it's through some sort of rain catchment, you have a well, or you have, some other body of water that you can get the water from. Once those things are covered, now we can start covering the other things, because in the end, we can survive with just water. I bring up the booze because there are plenty of people out there that they're gonna need a drink for their mental sanity. Um, we we drink around here. It's not super crazy parties or anything. I've had both of these bottles for this one I've had for over a year, mainly because I have a second one of these, and it's one of those things where this one's still unopened. I'll leave it that way, and I'll just save it for that rainy day. It serves two functions. The first one is for myself to consume, and that's not just consuming as a drink, it's also using it as a disinfectant. And then its other function is for other people. I am fairly certain I could offer this bottle. Some people like this specific brand. Some people just say, oh, look, it's vodka. And I can convince a lot of people to do a wide variety of things in exchange for that bottle. Same thing with this whiskey. This is only like a half size bottle. But if it comes down to, that crappy situation, there's going to be a lot that I can get done for trading those items. It's a comfort thing. People, I would put cigarettes in the same category, other tobacco or nicotine. You know, I'm not condoning, anything harder, but, they have their purposes. On the lighter side of things, it's really hard for me to say whether coffee is going to be more important or booze is going to be more important. I kind of lean towards the coffee because coffee isn't grown very well in the US. We've been making booze forever. This ground coffee that I have here, if it's stored in a different container, it's going to last a good 5 to 10 years. If I go the freeze-dried coffee route, or that's your instant coffee, that stuff will last a lifetime, as long as it's stored properly. People are going to want their caffeine. It's a great choice to have. For the non-coffee drinkers, I have several options here. I picked this stuff up the other day. It was on sale. I'm going to try it, see if I like it. It is caffeine free, but this other stuff, you can like Lipton if you want to. You can like Red Diamond. There's 100 different uh, tea varieties and mint tea and herbal tea and Earl Grey. Get what you like because you want to stay as close to normal as you can. And, you know, I don't know if people are going to go as crazy for, bartering the good old tea. Maybe. It just depends on how long they've gone without drinking something other than water. And there's also a whole ton of plants all across the US that can be turned into tea. Two of my favorites are Yopon tea and pine needle tea. The loblolly pine, I think, tastes better than some of the other kind of pines, but I live in Northeast Texas. We have 3 pine trees on our property. If it really came down to it, I have a very quick access to a very sweet tea. And, every once in a while we'll go, pick some of the pine needles. You have to heavily brew it. Or, if you don't brew it long enough and don't get it to a nice boil, I've heard that some people have gotten the runs from it, but I haven't had any issues when I go camping. It's every 5 foot is a pine tree. So figure out what in your area you can do for tea. There are some places in the US where you can grow coffee bean trees. Most of what I've seen, I've watched a couple YouTube videos, so I'm not the expert on it. But, they've adapted some dwarf coffee bean trees that you can, once you get them up and going, I think the guy said he had 3 or 4, and he was able to get a pretty good amount of coffee from it. And then obviously with the booze, you make your vodka with your potatoes. If you're growing any sort of wheat or rye, you can make, different whiskeys. If you have any access to fruit and sugar and, yeast and all that different stuff, you can make some pretty nice wines and meads. So this is the kind of thing that it's very easy to have the entire process. You know the plants in your area that can make teas. You can grow dwarf, coffee bean stuff. You can get the stuff to make other kinds of boozes. You can stock up on a lot of this stuff and you don't have to worry about it going bad. Because some people, they don't like, getting all the canned goods. And they haven't really set up a way to, make it flow, and they end up having to throw stuff out. So this is the kind of stuff that you can buy and kind of forget about it. Now, some of it, just keep this in mind, like this red diamond tea. It's just in a cardboard box inside of, its little tea bag. This is something that if you're going to store it long term, a Mylar bag or a mason jar and oxygen absorbers. No moisture, no oxygen. You can freeze it as well. Once you've done that, a cool, dry place, and it should last pretty darn close to a lifetime. And, it's going to help keep you as close to that normal as you can. I can speak for a lot of people, my educated guess, we're going to get tired of water. So, my last bit of advice is prep for varieties. I showcased a whiskey and a vodka, but we have other options as well. And my last bit of advice is even if this isn't something that you consume on a regular basis, like I could decide that I don't like this pomegranate blueberry herbal tea. That doesn't mean I'm just going to throw it out. I'm going to stick it in a jar, set it off to the side. That way, I've already spent the money on it. I can add it to my side of preps that I'm perfectly fine with trading or bartering away. Getting the instant coffee. I like to go to the dollar stores and pick up, the cheapest. It's it's about $1, and it's going to get you maybe 15 cups of coffee. I like a little bit better coffee than that, but it goes into that part of the preps that I'm perfectly fine with, storing away, and I've got options. All that being said, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Ask your questions. I like having these conversations with y'all. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends and family. I'll catch you in the next one.